Hi everyone, Sandman here. This video is brought to you by a donation from Matic, and here's what he has to say. Hi Sandman, thank you for your daily good work. We appreciate it. I found a heartbreaking story on social media and was hoping that you could share it with your audience and give your thoughts and opinions on this tragic event. The story is written by a grieving best friend who discovered what led to his friend and father of three taking his own life. The deceased is local to me in England. We share the same birthday. He is only 1 year younger than me. Thank goodness I found MGTOW. I can't help but wonder if the recent events of the Chinese virus led to this poor guy's financial situation being pushed to an abyss, and how many other guys are in the same situation. Well, Matic, thanks for the donation as well as the topic. And now I'll read the social media post you wanted me to share with everyone, and I quote, "How many women on Facebook have been a victim of domestic violence? Unfortunately, I bet the comments would go on forever with them saying they face mental bullying. Now pause and take a breath. How many men on Facebook have been the victim of domestic violence? I bet comments will not be a quarter of the list of women. To be honest, I bet hardly anyone speaks up because they feel it would damage their pride. I'm not sexist. I don't want men or women to suffer from domestic violence, but I'm making a point of how hard it is for a man to face and come to terms with domestic violence. And it does not need to be physical. It can be mental assault as well, which I feel does even more damage. I'm just so angry how my best friend suffered in silence. And unfortunately, before the truth had been known, I had already carried his coffin to rest. Too late to be saved. I spent 5 hours last night studying his mobile phone records, reading 3 years of verbal abuse, and watching a story where he was controlled and made to feel that his own 3 children hated him and didn't love him. He paid his ex-wife a total of just under £3,000 a month. That's £150 a week for his children, and had taken a car out on finance for around £365 a month for her to get his children around. On top of this, he had to pay a £1,200 a month bill for his 1-bedroom flat, as well as food and travel for work, and at one point he had to turn off his own gas in his house and live in a cold place just for his children for the past 5 months solid, with no one-day break. Yet he was called names by his ex-wife like scum, pedo, you're dead to your kids, the kids hate you, they don't love you, they only talk to you before bed and stay up later. The list goes on and on and on. Every day my friend was hounded for money he just didn't have. To the point one message reads from his son's phone, "Daddy, can you buy me a PSP app? It's only £7. He replied, "I'm sorry baby, I just don't have it." Then a reply from his ex back saying, "See you dirty tramp, you can't even buy something nice for your kids." Imagine how that moment must have felt for him. Saying no to your own child even though in your heart you wish you could actually buy them that app. Then to be called a dirty tramp. It's heartbreaking and disgusting behavior, and in the end, it took its toll on him. He saw no way out after being told by her new boyfriend this and that his kids love him, etc. on a daily basis. As much as I would love to upload the messages to help others see what happened, I can't because this is a criminal case now. He was pushed to do what he did up to his last breath. The status update is not to preach hate towards his ex-wife, because I believe no one can hate her as much as she's hating herself right now. That's something she'll have to deal with the rest of their life. The status update is simply to show others that men do get hurt just as much as women do, and men do get emotionally abused just the same as women. One message I will share with everyone is one that hurts me. On Christmas Day, he had not planned to be with anyone, as he felt he was not good enough and didn't want to be a burden to anyone at Christmas. So my other best friend and his missus said, "Over my dead body. You're not staying alone at Christmas. You're coming over to have dinner with us." On the morning of Christmas, he decided to see his children to wish them happy Christmas and watch them open their presents. Within 35 minutes, his ex asked him what he was cooking for dinner. As soon as he said he was going over to a friend's house, he was kicked out of her house and left to walk heartbroken home. I will spend every penny I can fighting this the proper way and see him get the justice he deserves. Finally, he's at peace now, but that's a high number of heartbroken people. This cannot keep happening to men that are ashamed to say and tell other people that they're being bullied by their ex-wives. Rest in peace, buddy. I love you, bro. Always have and always will. Never have and never will let you down. Get some rest, bro. Unquote. So with that out of the way, thanks again, Matic, and I'll share my thoughts about this in just a moment. But let me first tell everyone about today's sponsor, Luminous Let's Play. Please support Thomas, a fellow MGTOW, as he tries getting his YouTube gaming channel off the ground. Mostly 8-bit games like the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for NES, as well as Legend of Zelda Super Mario Bros. And WWF Royal Rumble. All your favorite games from the days when Jean-Claude Van Damme was still popular.
Great job.
So subscribe to Thomas's Luminous channel as he's trading shekels for subs. Sponsor link is in the description below.
It's done!
Anyways, now back to the video. Obviously, men are embarrassed to admit that we're the victims of emotional abuse. The best thing a guy can do in such a situation is to walk away from it. But when you have children and an ex-wife that emotionally abuses you, and you love your kids, you're in a catch-22 situation. And you can't reprogram the computer to win the way that Captain Kirk did during his time at the Academy. With regards to physical abuse throughout much of European history, if a wife hit her husband and the people found out about it, and that she was doing this, he would be punished by actually being forced to sit on a donkey and be paraded backwards around town. Yes, the idea was to damage his pride through shaming. But when someone emotionally manipulates you, there are no marks on your body that anyone can see, so you're a simp with no way out. The bottom line is that no one cares about suffering of men. Not women, not children, not other men, and most of the time, not even the men themselves, until they finally had enough and decide to pull the literal trigger on their lives. Just ask Terrence Popp all about that. While I was never hurt by women I was with in my adult life, I was hurt by the game. That I was in the Matrix, so to speak, wasting my life in a false reality that I wasn't even aware of. That's why I do what I do. Matic, as for the guy writing that social media post, he doesn't understand women. If he did, then it would make him even more angry. He says that his buddy's ex-wife hates herself right now after driving her ex-husband to suicide. She hates herself all right for Robin Williamsing him while he was still paying her, no doubt. Women can't take agency for when things go wrong. Hence, look, Mom, my hands aren't on the wheel, so how can I possibly be blamed for the car accident, even though I'm actually in the driver's seat? Women's motto should be no guilt, because I didn't do nothing, even if and when they launched a nuclear weapon. Sure, women are figuring out that men are hurting and suffering, and I suspect the only reason they're speaking up these days is because they realize that if men hurt, it's going to hurt them in the end too. Some women see that women have gone too far in general, and many men are now giving up and checking out of life. So they're pretending to be loving traditional chicks. Why do you think women are returning to traditionalism? The fear of not having a man there, at least, is greater than driving men to suicide. Many of them also probably don't care if you off yourself so long as it doesn't hurt them. I bet with regards to the guy in the story, his ex-wife is out all that money and crying in her bank statements right now. At least until some strange new man's cock cries on her, and he subsequently showers her with even more money. As the story mentions, there's a new guy in her life. If anyone's going to feel guilty for the guy in the story ending his life, it's most certainly going to be the new man, once he hears the story. Who knows, if he's not careful, he might be next if she extracts his sperm and has another cooch burster. The really sad part about this story is that no matter how much this man suffered and went without, living with no heat in his flat, so he could give money to his children, he was still labeled as cheap by their mother. If there was someone around to tell him before all of this that women use a man's children to extort wealth from us, he probably wouldn't have had children with her in the first place. If he had stumbled into red pill knowledge, he would have learned about seeing all the red flags, and therefore avoided them. She would have had to find a different mark, and some other poor schmo would be lying on the floor right now, after the neighbors called the popo, after his decomposing body melted through the lazy boy and then through the floor. Unless you've been on that edge before where you're thinking of taking your own life, because of either emotional or physical pain, you'll never understand how bad the suffering can truly be. I was there a few years ago for chronic pain reasons. The way to prevent yourself from doing it is to not focus on your pain, but instead focus on the pain you're going to cause for all the people that are still around you. If you don't want others to suffer, you'll try and find a way to keep going. To be honest, I think it takes a stronger man to say to himself, I'm suffering unimaginably at the moment, and probably for the rest of my life. But others will suffer more if I end it all, so I choose to suffer in silence and endure unimaginable pain and suffering so that others don't have to. Let's just say that when I was in that position and going through it, I was eventually rewarded with knowledge that could only be gained when you're on the edge of sanity. The pain is still there sometimes, but it's subsided quite a bit since then. There's always hope that your life circumstances will also change one day. The nature of life is change. The guy in that social media post could have dealt with the pain for 10 years if he had to, and eventually pulled his way out of it one step at a time. That's not to belittle his suffering, but he could have rented a room in a house instead of a full apartment. I knew a screwed father that got divorced that had to do that. The guy in the story also could have focused on his work and built a side hustle because he didn't have a nagging wife at home any longer. I coughed out blood in my life every day for 3 years, and no one could figure out why. For about 6 months, I couldn't use my hands without the worst pain imaginable because of calcium deposits in them. I stumbled upon an elimination diet 3 years after my condition started, and today I'm fine as long as I stay away from my trigger foods. I stumbled onto a suggestion to take K2 for my hands, and today I use my hands without excruciating pain for typing, using my phone or driving. Just recently I found out how to manage my skin issues too. My immune system will heal my skin so long as I give myself 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep every day, without being disturbed. So now I'm sleeping with earplugs regardless of if there's no sound or not. I'm going to insulate my sleeping area more than Tim Pool's podcast room right now. I've already ordered 48 foam squares. I just want every man out there to know that suffering might last years, like it has in my case, with 3 different conditions over the last 5. But you never know what the tide will bring in with regards to a solution that was right there in your face staring at you the entire time. I feel bad for those kids because they won't have a father. They'll suffer wondering if it was actually something they did that led them to go over the edge. Maybe asking for a 7-pound app for their phone. But they probably won't be thinking that it's their bully mother that drove them over the edge. She will be sure to tell them how weak and selfish their father was to take his own life, to hurt his own children. Once she says that and they believe it, no one will ever visit his grave, and no one will ever remember him in a good way except his best friend. Do you really think a man like that can find rest in his grave? Isn't it more likely that he's turning over in his grave right now, ready to crawl out as the world's first zombie MGTOW, and then find his ex-wife and eat out her liver? Anyways, that's it for today. Thanks again to Matic for the donation and topic. Don't forget to smash the like button the way that dead zombie MGTOW's wife is getting smashed by some strange man in his former bed, waiting for his daughter to become legal so he can smash her too. Bang the bell and check out the MGTOW mystery link. Follow me on BitChute, Twitter, and Facebook to get tomorrow's video today. Subscribe to me on Minds, Gab, and MGTOW.tv to get the video for the day after tomorrow. This channel's been demonetized, so if you want to get back at corporate censors, demonetize them by taking away their ad dollars by installing the Brave browser. Link is down below. It also helps me out and you get cryptocurrency for viewing ads as well. You can also help me out through Subscribestar. Thanks for taking your daily dose of red pills, and remember, a red pill a day keeps the suicide induced by divorcing thoughts away. So enjoy the rest of your day, and cheers. Now you can order dollhouse dolls from San Antonio, Texas. How about a date with curvaceous Anastasia? She won't treat you like an emotional tampon because she doesn't say very much. How about Nava? I'd suggest her with a thick curvy body with a big booty if you like swirling with dolls. If you prefer something with more of an Asian persuasion, then the Sandman recommends Pixie. It's time to trade shekels for some silicone jigglies. Once you get your hands on one, both you and the doll will scream out in ecstasy, "Oh God, oh yes, oh God, oh Sandman." Digital pimp link is in the description below.